the hell? How long was I out for? Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm sure there's no damaging side effects. Anyway, so, yeah, it's been 3 weeks, but we're finally here. Let's charge on into the last arc of Bleach. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here back again to review the very last arc of Bleach. And to make sure we knew it was the final arc of Bleach, it's actually in the chapter title. Chapter 480, Final Arc, the 1,000-Year Blood War. Now I heard a few different variations with the title. One of the variations was the 1,000-Year Holy War or the Final Holy War. It doesn't really matter. I personally like the Blood War better just because, yeah, we have, of course, no idea why it's called the 1,000-Year War. In fact, this chapter, I mean, despite it being the first chapter of the arc, it really doesn't advance the story at all. Through the entire chapter, we get, like, 2 important plot points. That's pretty much it, but whatever, so let's start off. So the chapter starts off in color. Yeah. Starts off at Squad 12 in the research and development. So the Shinigami are running around frantically, apparently something is abnormal. And someone begins a report that all these hollows in different sections of the world are being destroyed. Now I don't really know if they're talking about the Soul Society or the human world because they give random numbers for all these districts, but I'll just assume the human world because I think when the Karakura town was being designated as the place of spiritually enriched land, they gave it some really long code of numbers, so I'm just going to assume it's in the human world. But anyway, someone comes up to Akon, who's he's the 3rd seed. I don't know if he always was the 3rd seed. I don't remember a lot of people in Squad 12 except for Mayuri and Nemu, so he probably always was the 3rd seed anyway. But very odd occurrence because all the hollows are disappearing. Okay, right when I read this, I'm like, okay, hollows disappearing. That's an idea we haven't, you know, examined in a while. Usually it's like a whole abundance of hollows are coming in to try to kill everybody, or, ooh, there's a regular amount of hollows in that area. We should send Ichigo to go investigate. But them disappearing? That's a little bit new, so I was excited there. After this information is delivered, Akon goes up to Mayuri and he starts expositing that this is the work of them. Yes, and I would like to introduce you to Shonen Cliché number 25, where no one likes to use specific names in a conversation. This usually happens right now, like before the main villain of the arc shows up, and people know about who it could be, and instead of just saying, oh, it's the, well, I'll just use an example here, it's the Vizards, or it's the Arars, like, it's just like, it's them. It's them? Yes, it's them. Oh my god, I didn't think them were still alive. Yes, they were still around. You know, they both know who they're talking about. I mean, it's kind of random that they just like, it's them. I mean, let's just say, for example, that my next door neighbor's house is burning down. And I'm walking outside, and my neighbor's outside, and they're sitting there, and they're watching this house burn down. And I'm just like, you should probably call them. You mean the fire department? No, I mean them. So you mean the fire department. We both know who we're talking about here. So basically what I'm just trying to get across is Kubo didn't want to say the main villain yet, so that's why he had it like that. Mayuri is actually very calm about the whole situation, apart from everyone else being rather frantic, and we finally get a look at his new appearance, which is... I don't even know what to say about that. I really don't. Do you know what to say about that? I don't. The thing that I'm actually more curious about is how does Mayuri actually choose these new appearances? I mean, did he just like wake up one morning and look at himself in the mirror and think, you know what, this looks getting kind of old. You know what I should do? I should paint my face black, put white stripes on it, and then attach a giant ornamental accessory to the back of my head that extends down so far it actually covers up my Captain Haori, and I have to paint my 12th insignia logo on the accessory itself. Also, I should get some new socks. But anyway, we get the awesome title page, The End Approaches, The Final Holy War. We have Ichigo on the cover. From what we can make out from this picture, we have a blonde guy, a guy with a beard, I think. The one in the foreground, I'm guessing, is the guy that we see partially in this chapter, though I really can't say much because the person we see in this chapter is nothing but shadows anyway. He looks like he has some kind of armor under his shirt or whatever. Title page, and let's kick off this chapter into high gear. We have some random Shinigami that we've never seen before. I'm not going to judge yet. I mean, they're trying something new out. Let's just play this by ear, see what happens. Okay, so apparently this new Shinigami's name is Yukio Renosuke. Yuki's gimmick is that he has 3 dots on one side of his hair and 2 dots on the other side of his hair. But anyway, I guess Kuromadani is his master, which just kind of shows what level he's at. And apparently he was sleeping on the day that he had his first mission to the human world. Really, I'm not going to repeat everything because the majority of dialogue in this chapter is usually just to show how much of a wimp this kid is. Really, he's making Hinataro Yamada look like Kenpachi Zaraki by comparison. So we cut to later outside where Yuki meets up with his teammate, I guess, named Shino. We don't get her last name, that's kind of all we get. Her personality is very similar to Soifone, except it shows that she does care for Yuki. It's just kind of like a tough love scenario. You know, stand up, be a man, you know, quit whining so much, stuff like that. And I was confused at the beginning that she was a guy or a girl, but there's a comment later that actually states that she is a girl. But the thing I'm curious about is what the hell is that thing on her? It reminds me of like a miniature umbrella or something that's just stuck on her head. I don't even know how that thing's staying there. But so they have a little conversation about how much a wimp he is, and she eventually says, "Why are you being such a sissy?" Yuki Ryonosuke, most badass Shinigami. But she says that he should be proud because out of everyone, they assigned the 2 of them to look after the town since apparently Kuromadani is transferring. Yeah, but here's my question here. What the hell is wrong with their captain that they would assign this guy, who looks like he just graduated a minute ago, to assigning the town that has the most activity with hollows? I would mention of why they don't just leave it to Ichigo, but Shino does mention that there's a substitute Shinigami there that they don't want to ask for his help. I don't know why. He's more qualified to do it. He's probably much stronger than the average captain. He can easily handle the town's affairs on his own. I don't know why they're sending this guy out there. Anyway, we get the one joke of the chapter where Yuki starts to snicker about something that Shino says about sticking your chest out proudly, and then he says, "But Shino doesn't have a chest to stick," and he responds by saying, "But Shino-san doesn't even have a chest to stick," and he gets punched in his freaking nose. Now, the point of that joke was probably not to be funny. It was probably just to admit the fact that Shino is in fact a girl. Which is good, because I had no idea if she was a girl. Thank you, Kubo, for the confirmation. So then we skip over to Karakura Town where we get a shadowy figure pointing. So then we cut back to a Senkaimon opening where Kuromadani and the 2 rookies step out, and then he promptly leaves. With statements like this that make me realize this is most likely the first time these 2 are going to the human world. And not only that, they're going to Karakura Town. Karakura Town, the one place in the entire series where all the effed up stuff happens, you're gonna send 2 rookies to go deal with that. I mean, I don't know who their captain is because we don't even find out their division or even if they're seated officers, though I highly doubt it. But yeah, so Shino just berates him some more and then she leaves. And then, I kid you not, Yuki just gets on his knees and starts flat out bawling. Wow. I mean, wow. This is the first new character we have seen in such a long time, and this is what we get. Now you gotta give props to Hinataro. At least he was wimpy at times. You know, he was you know, the comic relief character. Even though he was kind of useful, he could actually do stuff. But even he, at his worst, never just got on his knees and start flat out crying. You gotta give Hinataro that much. So this guy is officially worse than him. Hinataro Yamada, most badass Shinigami. So anyway, his crying is interrupted when a hollow shows, and oh my god, hollows are on steroids. Really, there's no excuse for that. That thing is not a run-of-the-mill hollow. This is a run-of-the-mill hollow. That thing is a freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger hollow. And yes, I'm coining that phrase. He immediately books and starts running, yelling to Shino, I found one, I found one, I found one! Hurry up and show up so you can berate me some more like you're advertising a new product. And now he's comic relief. He just started, you can't do that. You can't switch from a hopeless character that just cries just because he might be alone to switch over to a comic relief character. Whatever. So, he starts running some more looking for Shino, turns a corner and sees more Uber Hollows holding her, having defeated her in battle. And the only thing I'm wondering in this scene is how the hell is that thing still staying on her head? I don't even know what it is. It must be like pinned to her hair or something. Oh yeah, and she also might be dead, but really we just saw her. We just were introduced to her, so I really don't care if she dies at this point. Go ahead and crush her, man. I don't care. Anyway, so he arrives there and sees her damaged like this, and he finally decides that maybe he should grow a pair and fight. He reaches for his sword, but then he realizes, oh wait, there was one behind me. Oops. And of course, as if you could not predict it by now, Ichigo shows up at the last minute in all his epic glory and saves this poor miserable thing's excuse for a Shinigami's life. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this chapter. I think that the whole purpose of these two being introduced was just so Kubo could show Ichigo arriving in epic glory at the end. Because really that's all they were good for in the end. But anyway, and you can't defend them either, YouTube commenters. I mean, if it was any other character in the series, you might say something like, oh, well, it's given them a chance to shine, or at least they're out there doing it. No, we have no idea who these people are. They are indisposable to us, so until they become actual likable characters, I can bash them all I want. So anyway, Ichigo lands and said, are you the guys taking over for Imo Yama-san? Well, you better get it in gear. You better be much more help than him or you're useless. Haha, yeah. At least Kurumadani, also him. He's probably much better than these two just because he has Shikai and he's not afraid to use his Shikai. Now, you might argue that these two don't have Shikai, but he was crying on the ground a second ago. So that kind of beats over. He was at the very end of the fight. He drew his sword and he was going to fight, but no. Imo Yama is much better than that. That's not even his real name, Imo Yama. That's just something Ichigo calls him. So, Kurumadani is at least better than this dude. Yuki asks him who is he, and of course he states, Ichigo Kurosaki, most badass Shinigami. I mean Shinigami representative. But anyway, so we get the title, Final Arc, the 1,000-Year Blood War, and the chapter ends with the shadowy figure watching Ichigo from an alleyway. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. And really not a very powerful way to start off the new arc, Kubo. I mean, okay, you might have been trying to do something different, introducing new characters, but okay, I'm fine with that. Introducing new characters, that's good, that's great. But did you have to make him such a wimp? I mean, I would have been fine with the character. I was following along. I was good with him. He's the typical wimpy character. We already saw that before with Hanataro. Shino is the typical strong-willed female, same as Soifone. Okay, that's great. They're kind of cliche at this point, but that's fine. You get to the point where he pretty much cries and whines and complains about any kind of prospect of fighting. You lost me. You lost me there. If you would have at least cut out the scene of him just getting on his knees and being like, I don't want to be alone. I want my mommy. I don't want to fight Hollows. That was pushing it a little bit too far. But, other than that, shadowy figure dude, I don't know. We've seen that he can control Hollows maybe because from when he appeared he pointed. I don't know if that means that I don't even know if he was pointing, really. It was in silhouette so well that I couldn't even tell what he was doing. But let's just say, he can control Hollow's movements, and he's causing their disappearances somehow. Maybe they're going to explain in the next chapter, like maybe Ichigo will be fighting and being like, these do not look like regular Hollows, because that needs to be addressed. You cannot just pass out, these huge giant uber giants to be Hollows. Whatever, so, Tekking101 signing out, Final Arc. Don't know how long it's going to take me, but hopefully I'll be here to the end. See ya.